A while back, I showed clearing some trees out of my trails, and this is a byproduct. It's a piece of hickory. Hickory is very heavy, very strong, dense wood, comparable to oak, and except maybe heavier. I'm not sure. It's very heavy wood, though. Even that's very heavy, just picking it up. Anyway, the point is that hickory is very flexible. It makes great axe handles, hammer handles, things like that. The old timers wouldn't have used this one because it was too small, but because I cut it down and I figured there's no other use for it other than firewood, I might as well see if I can make some handles out of it. With our modern equipment, you can saw out most of the bad spots. Like there's no real knots in this side. There's some knots on this edge, but I think they'll come out because they're kind of coming through at a quarter angle through here. Anyway, I think by the time we whittle this down to an axe handle, there'll be very little knot left. I'm going to make an axe handle to restore this old axe that I found. And we'll see how well that goes. And then I'm also going to use the rest of the wood. Like I think this piece here, I could probably get, I easily get a handle for this little tiny hammer and possibly even one for this bigger hammer and for this too. So, I'm going to make handles for all of them. And Sue wants to display them in the house, I think. So we'll do something one way or the other. I've hand drawn a shape on this that I'll make the axe handle into, and it's just hand drawn, so it kind of is what it is. Let's turn the dust collection on. So there's the general shape. Now I got to refine that some. That might be easier said than done. Once again, I'm just doing this freehand, no patterns, just figure it'll be whatever it turns out to be. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. I'm pretty happy with that so far. Gonna take a lot of work from here though. Now we'll get out the draw knife. Now, again, no patterns. I'm just doing it by eye. Whatever I think looks good is what happens here. If I don't kill myself on the saw here, it's in my way. I'm gonna have to turn this around a little bit and get me some more room here. Yeah, that should make it better. I think I'm going to have to call that good enough for the moment in terms of the general shape. And I think I'm going to have to go to, yeah, it actually feels pretty good. It's a little large yet, but I'm going to have to go to rasps and clean it up with rasps because it's just the stringiness of it is the problem. Well, for just freehand, I'm saying this thing's turning out way better than I expected.
Whole life, no more corporate strife. Put your alarm clock away in the drawer. No more conference calls, and no meetings in the halls, and no business to conduct in a bar, and no self-serving boss, nor the threat of the loss of the paycheck that I've earned 8 to 5. 'Cause I'll be out on that ranch where I can reach the first branch of that corporate tree grown from on high. I don't own it, I just manage its worth. It's a small slice of heaven placed down here on earth. Care for his trees, water his sun. I don't own it, I just rent it from God.
Let me try my finger planes. I don't know if this will work or not. Works faster than you think it would. It really lets me control the exact shape with the finger plane, which I know the old timers would never have used, but I figure I'm pretty much an expert with a finger plane, so why not use it? Takes really small bites, but it takes very accurate bites, and I can shape it exactly like I want it without any question of what I'm going to take off. Where the draw knife, it grabs under that grain and you jerk up a big piece that you didn't really want to take off. Probably should get the slightly bigger finger plane, but because I've got the tiniest one here. But I'll show you how that looks. You can see the side there that's been finger planed and this side here that's not. Now, I probably do need to go ahead and get the bigger finger plane and do it. I can do it much faster, but it'll do a very accurate job. So I guess I'll do that. Once again, got to cut it in a direction that I don't really want to cut it in, but I don't have any choice. Yeah, that's not working as well on that side for sure because of the grain condition. See if I can turn it over flat. I can probably do it that way then. Maybe. Yeah, that's better. I have to set the plane just a little deeper cut.
I tell them I'm history, that's okay, for I've got a plan. And there'll be no regret, no hard feelings, no debt. We're all doing the best we can. So here is my last word, some may think it absurd, but I know that someday you'll find it's better to leave than to stay and to grieve. Instead of a paycheck, you'll have peace of mind. I don't want it it, just manage its worth. It's a small slice of heaven placed down here on earth. I care for his trees, I water his sun. I don't own it, I just read it from God.
That's feeling pretty darn good. I think I'm going to call that good enough for the rough end for now, and I'm going to turn up to this end and start making it fit the axe. I think what I'm going to do is just kind of center this on here and just try to trace it and see what happens. There you go, you can see the tracing there. Now, I think what I'm going to do is take it over to the bandsaw and saw a slot through this first, so that I've got a slot through there while this is still square. I think that'll work. Might have to go further, but that's good enough for now. Now we'll start carving. I've got it clamped in the vise, but I've got leather on both sides, so that should work. Now I'm gonna see what happens when I do this. It's a small slice of heaven placed down here on earth. I care for his trees, I water his sun. I don't own it, I just rent it from God.
I just built myself what I call a shop that's probably close to the size. It's 20, well, I think it's a little narrower than this. It's 24 deep and 20 foot wide.
Yeah.
But
I don't know what this is. 22 by 22 square, roughly, maybe 24 square. I'm not sure.
yeah,
Can't remember.
yeah, it looks close to 24, even 26. But I don't do any woodwork. I just use it to work on my equipment. that the axe head that you
One
found?
of them. Yes, one of them I found.
Yeah.
I found, I think 9 of them around one old house back there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where the house used to be. You can't
Yeah.
even tell there was a house there. Found 9 of them. And
You're going to put handles on all of them?
no, just she wanted to make a display in the house with some of them. I've got like 4 of them picked out. I'm going to do not all axes. They're all different kinds of. We found different kinds of hammers and things.
Song about a horse or two. Well, here's one more, and I swear it's true. The finest horse you've ever seen. His name was Phantom 614. A proud young stallion with head held high. His coat like satin under candlelight. His mane and tail, oh, how they sheen. His name was Phantom 614. Up on the back of 614. The trainer said, son, he can't be rode. Stay away, boy, or you'll be thrown. He said that horse is just plain mean. His name was Phantom 614. I climbed upon the back of the one they said was me. His name was Phantom 614. A one-man horse to me proved true. The people would stare as we ride through a sight which few have ever seen. His name was Phantom 614.
Well, been fitting this up for a while now, and I've just about got it to go on there. You can see it's going on about 3/4 of an inch. The inside of this is pretty rough. It's got a lot of rusty flakes in there. So I'll see if I can't clean some of that out before I go much further. Well, my friends, off camera, I have filed and filed and filed. You can probably see the pile down there. I have done a lot of filing, and this thing is being obstinate. It does not want to go on there. But I think this time might be the time. I don't know. It goes really close. It's still a long ways. It's still like 3/4 of an inch, but let me hit it on the ground. Sometimes when you hit it on the ground, they go much further. Yeah, now we're 5/8, ½ inch. Quarter, 3/8. Strong quarter. You can see there, it's right at the edge. It's really close. I think we can make it go now. That might be as good as we're going to get. I'll monkey with it a little bit, trim around here. I'll show you if I get it any better. Well, my friends, I had guests yesterday a lot while I was working on this, so I couldn't film everything, and you know, there was a lot of talking, and so I had to fast forward through a lot of it. But regardless, It's in pretty good shape. I've got it fitted up pretty well. This is going to have to get cut off. I've got to get a wedge driven through here. But right now, I'm just taking a scraper, this scraper here specifically, and I'm just cleaning it up. This is kind of like a fast sanding. You can do this much faster than you can with sandpaper. Plus, it allows you to shape it in addition. So this gets it really smooth, especially if you go the proper grain direction. If you go against the grain, not so much, but with the grain, it gives you a good, really smooth finish. And it takes off much more wood than sanding does. Therefore, you can, actually affect the shape of the thing you're working on. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to get rid of the last little bumps and, little abnormalities. I'm really very pleased with how it's turning out. It's really turning out nice and smooth. It's got these colors in it, but that's just because it was such a small piece of hickory. As I've said probably several times, the old timers would have not used this piece. It just wouldn't have met their standards. And if I was going to use it every day for working, I probably wouldn't have met my standards either. But it's good enough, and we're mostly just going to use it as a showpiece to show the old axe that was found here on the farm. That's mostly all it is. But I will use it to split some wood too. There's no doubt about that. And I probably will split some wood before we finish this video, in fact. Well, my friends, I've progressed a bit. I put some leather dye on this. I sanded it with 80 grit sandpaper, put leather dye on it, and then I put Be Good oil on it. Be Good oil is just a food safe oil. It also has beeswax in it. So that's what I put on here. Now I've just made myself a wedge out of some of the scrap hickory I had, and I just started it in the crack. I had sawn that crack in there. And so I just started that in there just so that I could drive it in on camera here. And this little hammer isn't going to be stout enough to do that because it's been broken before. So I'm going to have to find me a little better, stronger hammer for that. I'll be right back. So I thought this might be the best option because it's flat on the sides, and I can turn it sideways here and hit it and maybe not break the wedge too badly. I think that's about as far as it's going to go down in there. That's really tight. It's pushed it out really tight on the sides. I think that's it. I don't think it's going to go any further. I'm starting to bend it over. I think that's really tight. I seriously think that's super tight, in fact. So now I'm going to think of the best way to cut this off. So I'll go cut that off and I'll come back and show you here in just a second. So I just used a multi-tool and just, one of those zip tools, and just went across there and cut that off real nice and easy. Now let's just take this leather dye and we'll put that on here. See if I can get it down in the cracks too. I think I'll take a brush and get some more down in there a little better, just to get down in the actual cracks down in here. I think that looks good. All right, now I think we're on to the grinder to sharpen this baby. Okay, I just thought I'd show you that I put one more coat of oil on this, dried it off. I put oil up on this and dried it off. Now I guess we'll go to the sharpening thing and get her sharpened up. Well, my friends, it is time to put the steel to the stone here. Now, the way I was always taught to sharpen an axe is you don't turn them this way and sharpen them. You could do that, and if you're really careful, you could probably get away with it. But the way I understand to sharpen them is you turn it this way. And so that's the way we're going to be doing this. Let me get my safety glasses. Well, I think that's a really good grind on there. It's very sharp. I mean, it's like super sharp. But what I do now is I take it to a file and do a little bit of draw filing, and I'll show you that process. Okay, I'm just taking a mill bastard file and I'm doing what they call draw filing. I'm going across this way. Instead of filing like this, which you could cut your fingers, you just draw file it, and this knocks off that little bit of extra burr and really makes the saw sharp. It's pretty sharp, pretty sharp. I suppose if you really wanted to go a step further, you could take a stone to it. I don't generally do the stone thing. I don't find that it's necessary for just splitting wood. But I think we are now finished with this thing, and I think we gotta go split some wood and initiate it. Here we go. Let's see if we can split this big piece here. There's no good wood in here that doesn't have a bunch of knots in it, and with an axe you need fairly clean wood to split it. We're about there. I think we're going to get it done. There we go. Yeah, that's some twisted wood, but proof of concept, the old axe works pretty well. That's 100 years in the ground and no telling how old that thing is. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next video.